Yo everyone, what's going on? Today we're going to be checking out the brand new Neural DSP Archetype Rabea plugin. Here we're talking about Rabea Massaad. You've probably seen him on YouTube doing a whole bunch of gear reviews. He's an absolute weapon of a guitarist, and I couldn't be happier for him that he's bringing out his own plugin with Neural. Now, among the typical stuff you'd expect to see from an Archetype plugin from Neural DSP, Rabea has a brand new bag of tricks with its synth module, a whole bunch of crazy tones, whole bunch of crazy presets. Not too sure if this is going to be something that everyone's going to love, so let's stop talking, check it out. So there we go, that's the Archetype Rabea plugin in full swing, in a full mix there. I really didn't touch too much as far as post EQ or anything goes on. I really want these plugins to sort of shine on their own so you can get a really true representation of the sounds that you can pull out of them. So let's walk through the plugin in general. Now this is a Gibson Les Paul custom. Other pickups I've got a Bareknuckle pickup, Blackhawks, and this is just in drop D. And if you really want to be a nerd, there are elixir strings going on here. Now I've just got the plugin in default. We're going to take a look at the amps first, then we'll go through some plugins. So here we have the first preset, stock, default. Now, typical with Archetype or Neural DSP plugins in general is you've got the clean amp, the crunch amp, and then the lead amp. So we're just starting on the crunch amp. Let's see how it sounds. Crunchy, very reverby. But let's just turn the reverb off. You just right click up here, turn that whole block off. Let's just hear the amp. Now you've got your typical input levels, you've got your gate, transpose, pretty handy to have there. So we just go down a hole. Now I've got a 7-string guitar just by clicking transpose. That's pretty cool, very handy to have there. Input mode, I'll stick to mono, the doubler. That's fun. Not too sure if I'd necessarily record something with the doubler. Maybe some leads would be handy, but definitely for playing, it's a lot more inspiring to have a doubler. I should mention that you can change, it's like a Haas effect, so you can change the delay between the two. The 6 milliseconds is a good midpoint, but let's juice it all the way up. Let's crank the gain up on this crunch amp. Now I've got to say, for the gain turned all the way up, it's not too scratchy on that top end. Very, very usable tones, which is always good to hear. More in the fuzz family than the like 5153 distortion family. And if you know what sort of guitar that I'm into, I love the 5153 side of things. Yeah, what a great segue. Subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. Also got a Discord server. I'll leave a link to that below. I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But yeah, let's go into the high gain amp before we go into the clean amp. Let's see what we got out of here. Pretty good response under the hand. Now see, we've got this tight control. Let's crank it all the way up and see what happens to the response. See how it starts to choke it, or as they say here, make things a little bit tighter, but let's roll it back. So I guess depending on the tone that you're going for, you can adjust the tightness level there. I like to have that Misha purr going on. tighten it up. A little bit too tight there. Let's bring it back down, ironically, to the noon. That's going to differ for every player, like how hard you pick, what sort of pick you're using, just technique. Now the gain, let's max that out and see how that goes. So we'll hear it now. Let's crank up that gain. You know, for a fully gain cranked amp, that's not too crazy. It's still usable. I think it was fine where it was, you know. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm just going to leave it there. Typical controls there, bass, middle, and treble. You know, it's funny, normally with these sims, I hear it, and the first thing I want to do is start changing the EQ stack, but honestly, you ready to go here? You know, I like to subscribe to the notion that if you put an amp on noon, that's how the amp sounds. When you start tweaking things to how you want it to sound, maybe using the wrong amp. And whilst everything is not at noon here, I've loaded up this preset. I hear how it sounds. It's not even a preset, it's the default sound. The default sound is very, very good. Actually, one thing we'll check out is this switch from EL34 tubes to 6L6s. Defaults to the 6L6, so this is what they sound like. Let's change it to the L34. Sounds like you're losing a little bit of top end, a bit more artifacts and distortion there, but it just really depends the sound you want to go for. I'd probably compensate this personally with a little bit of presence. Wow, that's a set of graphics right there. That's very, very steampunk inspired. Yeah, that's art for sure. That's art. See, I take my eyes off the screen. I don't know. I don't care what it looks like. Just listening to the sound, very clean. Sounds like it's begging for some reverb, so let's flick that on. Now let's check out some of the presets, because to me, the presets are what this sort of plugin is all about, especially when you're not used to the synth sounds and knowing everything that it has to offer. Why not walk through the presets, get inspired by those tones, and then you can start to sort of shape your own. So I've mentally remembered a few because I flicked through all these several times to make that intro mix. And this Megaman, crazy, just like crazy tone. I would never do stuff like this, but it's kind of fun. Now, as far as like the synth tracking goes, it's very like one note orientated, like a piano. Multi-notes don't really do anything. It generally clings to the root note. So you got to play like one note stuff. Let's double this. That's pretty cool. It's got a whole vibe of its own. Yeah, see, this to me, this plugin's all about this weird stuff, honestly. You know, if that's the sort of sound that I was going for, I would find it hard to create that tone from something like Amplitude or, you know, just coming up with a pedal stack. So to be able to walk through this plugin and get inspired by those sorts of tones, if this is the stuff that you want to go for, I think that's truly where this plugin shines. Just total nasty tones going on here. This is sort of something that I would chuck as supplementary tracks to a bigger piece of music, but it's definitely inspiring me to chuck some more tracks down. Like I said, you know, normally I would just double track things, chuck a lead on top, but it's definitely a lot of like atmospheric sort of sounds. So I love everything swimming in reverb. We'll take a look at the factory presets. I don't know how it took me this long in this video to talk about the Stranger Things preset. I mean, doesn't this just pay for itself? Pick up a guitar, load up this preset. There goes the copyright for this video. I'm not going to walk through the synth block too much because I'm not going to pretend to understand it, but it has this arpeggiator section where you can choose the notes, up and down, randomize, some pretty cool stuff. It's definitely something that I need to spend more time with before I can do a video on it, but yeah, all the wizardry is going on in the synth block. Does this remind you of anyone? Doesn't remind me of the song at all. Now, it's no surprise, but Rabea himself had a whole bunch of awesome tones, so let's check out some of those. This glitched riffs, I use this in the intro mix as well. Out of all these sort of fuzzy, nasty tones, I found this one the best. Now, I know I just said I really don't know this synth block, but I have gone in here a little bit, changed things to random, changed the speed. Now you can sort of get an intro to a song going on there. And you can claim all the glory, like, you know, you actually know what you're doing. That's pretty much as far as I tap out as far as the arpeggiator goes, but a few little tweaks there. You can sort of start to shape tones and sounds to how you want. Okay, sounds like some reverse delay going on here. Actually, I use this one for the intro as well. It's got a very Ebow sort of like sound. This is a good one. Slightly different vibe. This one almost begging for the double up. Alright, I just had to look this up, so don't at me if I get it quite wrong. Alright, so let me know what you think about Archetype Rabea. What an array of tones there. You know, you got nice clean sounds, very, very good crunch sounds, very high gain lead tones, all very usable. Now, admittedly, those high gain and crunch sounds were not sort of in the distortion family that I typically like with the EVH sort of sound. It was a more fuzzier sort of distortion tone, but you know, realistically on recordings, everything's usable. So it really just comes down to what you like, what you want out of your guitar tone. But of course, the hero of this plugin is going to be those synth-based tones, the prog sound. I'm not a prog player. Clearly, I like skate punk and hardcore and all that sort of stuff, metal. So this realm is not really my typical thing, but I really enjoy trying out the plugins because it can sort of push you out of your comfort zone. And, you know, sticking just to one genre and just playing the same chords, the same guitars, the same pickups, the same amps, you know, that stuff's going to get stale real quickly. If you look at bands like Bring Me the Horizon, they're bringing in a more electro vibe into what they do. They like to keep things fresh. And I think, you know, whilst I'm not going to change overnight to a prog player with all these different synth and chorus things, you know, when I'm going to go record my music or, you know, produce someone else's music and that kind of thing, it might just spark the creativity to be like, hey, I got this crazy guitar line that let's check out. Let's try chuck on a couple chorus pedals and stack some weird ambient sounds. And I think to me, and hopefully to you, you know, that's where the beauty of this kind of plugin, it sort of sparks creativity. So for me, it's going to spark creativity, give me some ideas. For other people, they might find this stuff totally in their wheelhouse. They're going to use it and love it and enjoy the plugin. So there we have it. That's Archetype Rabea. If you have any questions or comments about the plugin, drop them below and I'll do my best to respond. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I've got a Discord server that I've launched. The links are in the description. Join that. If you haven't already, smash that like and subscribe button. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video and I'll catch you on the next one.